Okay, now we come to topic 3, fundamental concepts of energy measurement and verification. Concept of energy saving. In the IPMVP, the protocol mentioned that energy saving cannot be directly measured since saving represents the absence of energy use. That's something that is no longer there. So it's very impossible to measure energy that is no more there. Instead, savings are determined by comparing the measured energy use before the implementation of ECM, which is we call it as the baseline, and after implementation of the ECM, which is in IPMVP, this period we call it as reporting period, or in other terminology that you probably usually heard is the post retrofit period condition. So in a more extensive definition, the energy savings are determined by calculating the difference between the energy that you measured in the baseline and the energy that you measured in the post retrofit periods, after accounting for difference in non-ECM factors between the two periods. So the non-ECM factors that you consider in the calculation or in the IPMVP is known as adjustment between the two conditions of baseline and the reporting period, distinguish the proper savings determination from the simple calculation of saving. So in general, you know that savings is something that you compare before and after. But in the case of energy, you can see from the equation here, there are two terms that you must consider in calculating saving. The adjustment terms, and you can see here there are routine adjustment and non-routine adjustment. So in general, savings equal to baseline energy, the energy that you measure before the installation of ECM, minus the reporting period energy. Reporting period energy is the post retrofit energy. In the IPMVP, we call this post retrofit period as the reporting period, plus minus routine adjustment and plus minus non-routine adjustment. So what is this routine and non-routine adjustment? The adjustment terms distinguish proper saving report from a simple comparison of cost or usage before and after implementation of an ECM. If you just do a simple comparison of utility costs or electricity bill without such adjustment, it is actually fail to report the true performance of your energy saving project. To properly report saving, adjustment must account for the difference in condition between the baseline and the reporting periods. So you compare apple to apple condition. Although it's hard to compare exactly the same apple, but at least according to IPMVP, a certain statistical requirement should be met. So what are the conditions commonly affecting your energy use in the building? For example, these factors are whether the weather during the baseline is not the same with the weather during the post-retrofit period. What are the other factors? For example, occupancy. In a factory, plant throughput and equipment operation. In an educational building, for example, these factors calendar academic, the number of student, the number of class, the number of operation times. Yeah, so this adjustment have to put into the saving calculation, and then this adjustment can be trivial, simple, and involve complex engineering calculations depending on the options, the measurement option that you use to verify your saving project. Okay, let me explain better the MNV using the MNV conceptual framework. So this framework visualizes the whole concept of MNV for reporting energy saving. For this example, an ECM has been installed in a factory. So this is the time where the ECM is installed. And the time before the ECM installation, this is called as baseline period. And the time after the ECM installation, this is called as reporting period. Why we call reporting period? This is because during this period, we report the energy saving. And you may see here in the baseline period, this blue line is the baseline energy. And you can see in the reporting period, this blue line is called reporting period measured energy. You may see the energy during the reporting period is lower than the baseline energy after the ECM has been installed. And in this case, however, you can see there is production increase during the reporting period just after you install the ECM, which then increase the reporting period measured energy. So if you just simply compare the baseline energy with the reporting period measured energy, you will report less savings. So what should you do? In this case, you have to adjust the baseline energy so that it has the same condition as the production in the reporting period. And then the new baseline energy here we call as adjusted baseline. Okay, as you can see, this orange line is the adjusted baseline energy after you do adjustment on the previous baseline energy to have the same condition of production level. Don't ask on how to adjust the baseline energy. I just want to explain, to describe the concept of this MNV first before we go on how to do the adjustment. So after you adjust the baseline energy, now you compare the adjusted baseline energy, which is this orange curve, with the reporting period measured energy. So the area under these two curves, this is the energy saving, or we also call it as the avoided energy use. By doing this, now you are comparing the same condition of production during the baseline energy and the measured period energy. Okay, let me explain better the MNV using MNV conceptual framework. So this framework visualizes the whole concept of MNV for reporting energy saving. So this example is for an ECM installation in a factory. So you can see from this framework, this is the time where ECM is installed. And before this time, this is called the baseline period. After the ECM installation, this is called as reporting period. And you can see from this framework, in the baseline period, the blue line is the baseline energy. And in the reporting period, this blue line is called reporting period measured energy. And the reporting period measured energy is lower than the baseline energy after the ECM has been installed. However, in this situation, the production increased during the reporting period just after the ECM was installed, which then increased the measured energy of the reporting period. If you simply compare the baseline energy here with the reporting period measured energy, you will report less saving. So in this case, what should you do? So the baseline energy here, you have to adjust it to the same condition of the production as in the reporting period. And after the adjustment, you will get the adjusted baseline energy as in this orange line. Don't ask on how to do the adjustment. We will talk about it later. I'm just want to explain the concept, the whole concept of the MNV. Okay, you can see the adjusted baseline energy here is higher the baseline energy here to account for the increase of production in the reporting period. Now, to calculate saving, you compare the new adjusted baseline energy with the reporting period measured energy. So the area under these two curves is the energy saving, which is also called as avoided energy use. So by doing this, you now comparing the baseline energy with the measured energy during the reporting period at the same production level. And also by doing this, you're reporting a more accurate saving by comparing apple to apple of the production level. Okay, by now you should already know what is the adjustment and why we do adjustment in calculating energy saving. So there are two types of adjustment are possible while you do the MNV. One is routine adjustment and another one is non-routine adjustment. Okay, so what is routine adjustment? So routine adjustment is made by routinely adjust the energy use based on a factor called independent variables. So the independent variable is a factor that expected to influence the energy use. So you know that this factor will affect your energy use routinely over the time. Very simple example is weather. Yeah? So you know that when the weather, outside weather, the ambient temperature of the weather is hot, so you will use more air conditioning in the building and increase the energy use in the building. If the weather outside the building is cold, so you will use less air conditioning and your energy used in the building will be lower. So what are the other examples of independent variables? For example, in industry, the production volume is the main independent variables that influence the energy in the factory. Ambient temperature, humidity, occupancy, business hours are examples of independent variables that change, that influence your energy routinely over the time. And the second adjustment is the non-routine adjustment, where this adjustment may be non-routinely adjust the energy use based on a factor that called static factor. So static factor is the one-off factor that affects the energy without a trend. And this is also an unanticipated event that can temporarily or permanently affect the energy use. So example of static factor is the change to building size, the design and operation of installed equipment, number of weekly production shift, type of occupancy, vacancy, which is just a one-off, and it doesn't happen every day or every time over the time. So the non-routine adjustment also very important and always overlooked when doing M&V. So to understand the independent variables and the static factor in the building, we have to understand the operation of the building. So to identify this factor, the independent and the static factor, we usually do this during the baseline period or during the energy audit work. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to do the routine adjustment. As I explained earlier, routine adjustment is made for independent variables that routinely affects your energy use in the building. So there is a relationship between the independent variables and the energy use in the building, where we can model this relationship using regression analysis. So for a few slides after this, I'm gonna explain, I'm gonna revise regression analysis because some of you already know about this regression analysis, and I'll show you how to use regression model to do the routine adjustment in the M&V. Okay, the relationship between two or more variables is called regression analysis. So mathematical modeling is used in M&V to establish the routine adjustment term in the various versions of equation. We can use a different functional form of regression, and the linear regression is the most widely used. So modeling involves finding a mathematical relationship between the dependent and independent variables. So What is the dependent variables? The energy used in the building is the dependent variables, and the independent variables is the weather, occupancy, production volume, time, or other factors that you think affects the energy used in the building routinely. The regression equation is usually modeled using linear equation and written as y equal to mx plus c, where y is the energy used or the dependent variable and x is the independent variables. You may have more independent variables in the equation by adding more x in the equations. If you have more relevant independent variables affecting the energy use in your building. Okay, let's have a look at example of regression model for routine adjustment in an office building. Okay, you can see in this table, it specifies 12 months of energy data from June 2010 to May 2011, and there are two columns here. One is number of working days, so I use this as an independent variables that affecting the energy consumption in the building. And another column here, the energy consumption in kilowatt hour obtained from monthly electricity bills. Using a simple regression software, like in this case I use Microsoft Excel, and I plot the regression model showing the relationship between the independent variables and the energy consumption. The y-axis is the energy consumption in kilowatt hour, and the x-axis is the number of working days. From the Excel, so you can get the equation that shows, that represent this relationship. For example, in this case, the equation is y equal to 16,658x plus 457 and 296. So what does this mean? 1 day of working days increase will increase 16,658,000 kilowatt hour of energy in your building. R square shows the correlation coefficient of your regression model. R square equal to more than 0.75. It has shows the good correlation of the dependent, the energy, and the independent variables, which is the working days in this example. Okay, now let's have a look at an example of regression model for routine adjustment in an office building. You can see there is a table here, shows a 12 months of energy data from June 2010 to May 2011. There are two columns here. One is the number of working days, which is the independent variables that I choose, which affects the energy consumption in the building routinely. Another column here shows the monthly electricity consumption in kilowatt hour, which I obtain this data from monthly electricity bill. From this table, from the data in this table, I use a simple regression software. In this case, I use Microsoft Excel to plot the regression and to do the regression analysis for the data. So you can see this is the linear regression model that shows the relationship between the number of working days and the electricity consumption. The y-axis here shows the energy consumption in kilowatt hour, and the x-axis here shows the number of working days in a month. By using Excel, you can also obtain the regression equation like this. For example, in this case, the equation shows y equal to 16,658 x plus 457 and 296,000, where y is the energy consumption and x is the number of working days. What does this equation means? One number of working days increase in your building will increase 16,658,000 kilowatt hour of energy in the building. R square is the coefficient determination or correlation of this equation. So R square more than 0.75 shows an acceptable correlation model and can be used for MNV and also to do the routine adjustment. If you have more than one independent variable, so you will be adding more column for independent variables here, and you will be getting more x in the equations. And this model, we use baseline data to develop this baseline regression model. That is because, as I explained earlier, in the conceptual framework of MNV, because we aim to adjust the baseline to a new or to the condition of reporting period. So that's why we need a baseline regression model to do the adjustment. Okay, we're done with the regression revision, and now I'm explaining the methods of measurement. So there are two methods of measurements. One is the whole facility method, and the other one is the retrofit isolation method. The whole facility method measures all effect in the facility. So you want to know the saving from the whole facility at the whole facility level, and this include measure the effect not only the retrofits but also other change in independent variables and static factor that we use for routine and non-routine adjustment. For whole facility method, we often use the utility meter to collect the energy data, and since it involves static factor and independent variables for routine and non-routine adjustment, the adjustment can be complex. So if we want to manage the total energy use using the whole facility method, we use option C or option D of the IPMVP. Yeah, so I will talk more about this option later, in the next slide, where in the IPMVP there are 4 options, option A, B, C and D. So C or D can be used to do measurement or to determine saving at the whole facility level. Another method of measurement, retrofit isolation method, measure the effect of the retrofit only. For example, if you do replacement on the lighting system, so you only want to know the energy saving from changing the lighting system. Or if you just want to know the saving by replacing a more efficient chiller, so you just measure and report the energy saving from retrofit of the chiller system. And savings are unaffected by change beyond the measurement boundary. So in this case, you may see there is no effect of independent variables or static factor in this method, as you already make the boundary smaller than the whole facility method. For this method, we usually require a dedicated meter that installed in the building, and the adjustment can be simple because you already make the measurement boundary smaller. So if you want to assess a particular retrofit, in this case, option A and option B or option D can be used to do the measurement. Now we look into measurement option as in the IPMVP. As I mentioned earlier, there are 4 measurement options, option A, option B, option C and option D. Option A is known as partially measured retrofit isolation. Option B, retrofit isolation. Option C, whole facility. Option D, calibrated simulation. Option A, option B and option D can be used to quantify energy saving at the retrofit level. Option C and option D can be used to quantify energy saving at whole facility method. And if you realize that option D, the calibrated simulation, can be used both to determine energy at the retrofit level and also the whole facility level. That is because option D uses a computer energy simulation to determine the baseline energy and then can be used to calculate the energy saving. Option A, partially measured retrofit isolation. Okay, now let's start with option A, partially measured retrofit isolation. So the key terminology here is partial and retrofit isolation. So savings are determined by partial field measurement of the energy used to which an ECM was applied and separate from the energy use of the rest of the facility. Option A, similar to option B, is a retrofit isolation method. The difference is option B involves complete field measurement, but option A, you can have a partial field measurement where some of the parameters can be stipulated. So here, explain detail. So measurement at the retrofitting point, the key parameter measurement can be stipulated if constant and measured if affected by the ECM. A simple example is changing the old lighting system to a more efficient lighting system, like installing LED, where the power draw from this lamp changing. Yeah, so power draw in the baseline, which is the old lamp, is higher, and the power draw from the lighting system, which is from the new LED, is lower. So you can see there is changing in the power, so measurement of power must be done. And to calculate the energy, yeah, you multiply power with the operation hour of the lamp. Considering that the operation of the lamp, of the lighting system, is constant, for example 9 hours in an office building, so you can stipulate these operation hours, 9 hours, then multiply the measured power before and after with this stipulated operation hour. So when is the typical application of option A? When savings of the ECM being too small to be detected. Interactive effects of the ECM on the energy use of other facility equipment can be reasonably estimated or assumed to be insignificant. Interactive effect is the effect from other system, yeah, to this retrofit system. Some meter already exists to isolate energy use of system will be advantage. Yeah, you already have the submeter, and uncertainty created by the estimation, for example the operation hour, is not significant, it's not big. So example of application, as I mentioned earlier, lighting replacement to a more efficient lighting system, where the power draw you measure and the operation hour, if it's constant, then you can stipulate. Other application, motor replacement, where the motor, the power draw from the motor, when you change or you replace old motor to efficient motor, so the power draw change, so you measure the power draw, and if the operation of the motor is constant, then you can estimate or stipulate the operation hour of the motor. So option A is usually used for replacing lighting system to a more efficient lighting system. Okay, so we go to an example. So situation where a small IT organization wanted to reduce its energy use by retrofitting the lighting system to a more energy efficient system. Okay, project summary. So this is the M&V plan. Project summary: replacement of existing T8 fluorescent lamp with high performance T5, 50 megawatt halogen lamps with 11 watt compact fluorescent lamp, which will be used in the foyer, and also replacement of T12 fluorescent troffer with high performance single T5 troffer that will be used only in the toilet areas which are on the common building circuit. So required outcome of this M&V to demonstrate that saving 50% or more are being achieved from lighting efficiency project using formal M&V method. So the M&V option that has been chosen is option A, project isolation key parameter measurement. So the measurement boundary is at the 12 electrical circuit across two distribution boards that fit the lighting features to be retrofitted. So the key measurement parameter here, since the power draw changing from the baseline, the old lighting to the new lighting. Yeah, so power draw will be the key measurement parameter in this case. Other parameter to consider is operating hours. So approach for conducting measurement and data collection. So for power draw, instantaneous real power readings are to be measured of the fully loaded circuits prior to and post retrofits, before and after changing the lamp. Operating hours in this case will be stipulated, will be estimated following discussion with the staff in the building. So measurement equipment required for the power draw measurement, an AC digital power meter will be used to measure the real power in watts per kilowatt, in watts or kilowatts. Measurement period is an instantaneous measurement which conducted prior to retrofit and repeated once new lighting has been installed. Okay, this is the results of the measurement. So you can see the measured power draw measured at each of the circuit from dB1 and dB2. So this is the measured baseline power draw, and this column shows the measured reporting power draw, and this column is the stipulated operating hours with the staff in the building, and this 4 column shows the calculation of energy and the energy saving. As you may know, energy is equal to the power draw times the operating hours. Yeah, so we get this baseline energy, and this post retrofit energy is the power draw, the reporting power draw multiplied with the same operating hours. Then we will get the post retrofit energy. Demand saving is the difference between the baseline power draw and the reporting power draw. Energy saving here is equal to baseline energy minus post retrofit energy. So we total up the energy saving and the savings obtained here approximately 59.6% energy and 58.4% of the demand saving.